of the season last night, losing a tight ball game to Shrewsbury up in Leominster by a final score of 4-3. Milford, of course, coming off of another victory over Grafton Hill, a 7-2 win last night. Milford getting some offense going in the middle to late innings. Ben McKenzie leading the way with 3 runs batted in and another double to his tally. Jack Tempesta picked up the victory on the mound. Milford also got solid contributions out of their bullpen arms, both Justin Metcalf and Nick Kazarian pitching well in relief, and it all totaled into a 5th consecutive win for Post 59, right back on a long winning streak. And so set to take on the top team in the zone, an opportunity for Milford to pull into a tie record-wise with Leominster tonight. And right now, the big 3 teams in the zone, Milford, Leominster, and Shrewsbury, all have the potential to control their own destiny moving forward as we get closer to the end of the season. We'll get more into that with Coach DeVito in our Coach's Corner in just a few minutes from now. But again, it should be a very exciting ball game here tonight as Milford, Post 59, takes on Leominster, Post 151, with first pitch coming up in just about 10 minutes from now. But before then, we will continue to get you ready for baseball here on our Milford Hardwood pregame show. As we mentioned, some intriguing thoughts from Coach DeVito. Those will come your way next as part of our Crystal Pool and Spa Coach's Corner. So stay tuned to coverage of Milford Legion baseball right here on My FM 101.3.
Versus Leominster. Looking forward to it. Best of luck, Coach. Thanks, Tim.
That is Coach DeVito once again joining us in our Coach's Corner, brought to you by Crystal Pool and Spa, the pool supply store that's all about fun, located on Route 140 in Bellingham. We have just a couple of moments before the national anthem here at Fino as we get set for this game, and while we have a moment, I, of course, want to welcome in my broadcast partner for the game here tonight. You've heard him on Milford Legion broadcast before, now a distinguished alumni from Syracuse University, and of course Milford High School alum as well, Anthony Mazzini, joining me tonight. Anthony, so good to have you back here at the ballpark.
Yeah, it's great to be back, Tim. I mean, you're setting me up for this big intro here. I don't know if I can live up to those type of standards, but no, it's awesome to be back. Awesome to be back with you. Thank you for the opportunity. This is awesome. Great to see some Milford Legion baseball. These are 2 of the best teams in the zone this year, along with Shrewsbury, so should make for a very, very good matchup here tonight.
And pulling double duty today, of course, you're working with the Bravehearts this summer, doing a lot of different things for them. They had a game early this morning, so this has been a long day of baseball for you so far.
Yeah, fortunately that was a 10:30 start. I was out of there around 2 o'clock, got home around 2:30, 3 o'clock or so. So it's been a long day. Had to be in Worcester. I think it was about 8 o'clock this morning. So definitely a long day, but when it comes to baseball, I'm all for it. It's one of my favorite sports to not only watch, but also broadcast. Looking forward to a good one tonight. Baseball is my passion, so I love doing it.
And you certainly picked a great game to have an opportunity to come down here to Fino tonight. Obviously, Milford and Leominster, it's always been such a great rivalry historically for Legion baseball, but 2 teams right now at the top of their game, just a game separating them at the top of the standings, so this should be an outstanding battle.
Well, when I was looking into this game a little bit, one thing that I found really interesting was the top 3 teams in the zone from this year to last year are the exact same. You have Leominster, Shrewsbury, Milford in that exact same order. A lot can change with this game tonight, whether Milford drops a game or if Milford ends up beating Leominster, they'll vault up into the first spot. So it's very interesting how the zone has played out this year.
A lot on the line for this game tonight, and we are about to get the national anthem here at field level. So we will pause very briefly now in our Milford Hardwood pregame show. When we come back, we'll bring you the injury report, the starting lineups, and we will get to the first pitch. It is Milford and Leominster coming up in just a few short minutes. Stay with us here on My FM 101.3. And so a little bit of an elongated period here prior to the national anthem, as Milford has been holding a brief pregame ceremony to honor the past presidents of Milford Post 59. 4 of those past presidents just out on the field in a pregame ceremony that included throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. So we are now about to get the national anthem here at field level. So again, we will go to one final commercial break, and then we will close out our Milford Hardwood pregame show. So again, you are listening to coverage of Milford Legion baseball right here on My FM 101.3. A particularly rousing rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner here before getting set for this game here tonight. Milford and Leominster, we are just moments away from the first pitch, so let us close out our Milford Hardwood pregame show now by bringing you today's injury report. That is brought to you by Milford Regional Medical Center, recently earning an A grade in patient safety, and Tommy Ambrosoni, the one name on that injury report as he continues to work his way back from that hand injury, hoping that he will be back in the fold just in time for the playoffs. And so that is your injury report, again brought to you by Milford Regional Medical Center. And now on to our starting lineups, brought to you by the Consigli Ruggiero Funeral Home. And those starting lineups look like this. Rocco Pandiccio leads it off and catches tonight. The right fielder Danny Garcia bats second, with Nick White playing first base and batting third. Sage Bray is the starting pitcher in the cleanup spot, with Anthony Silverio playing third base and batting fifth. Batting 6th and playing second base is Matt Dupuis, with the center fielder Dylan Souza batting 7th. Batting 8th and playing shortstop is Tom Hallowell, and in the 9th spot playing left field is Max Bigelow. And for Milford post 59, it is Ben McKenzie leading it off in center. Steven Simos bats second and plays second, with Sam Parker, the left fielder, batting 3rd. Danny Johnson is your cleanup hitter and first baseman, with Brendan Kelly, tonight's starting pitcher, batting 5th. Matt Shaver plays third base and bats 6th, with the catcher Jacob Beater batting 7th. Lucas Pasil plays right field and bats 8th, and in the 9th spot is the shortstop, Chris Brunt. And the pitching matchup in the game, both pitchers in their respective starting lineups. It is Brendan Kelly set to make his 3rd start of this 2019 season. He continues his warm-up tosses right now. He will be opposed on the Leominster side by Sage Bray. Bray, one of the longest tenured veterans on this Leominster squad. He was injured to start the season, but ready to go now. And we are ready to go for baseball here tonight as the leadoff batter for Leominster stands in. Baseball underway here at Fino Field in a playoff preview, really, in this game tonight. Two teams, Anthony, that you know are going to be there once the playoffs get started.
Absolutely. Like I was saying before we tossed a break, the top 3 in the league are the exact same this year. Very top-heavy league. After that, you get some changeover year to year, but Milford, Shrewsbury, Leominster, always 3 of the best teams in the zone. So it's going to make for a very interesting last few weeks of the season as we head to the playoffs.
A 1-ball, no-strike count as the first pitch has been tossed in there. The righty Kelly now back into the windup, and the pitch is down low. And it's a 2-ball, no-strike count. And Anthony, one of the things that Coach DeVito did mention about Brendan Kelly in our coach's corner was his ability to settle down early in games. We've seen the first inning's been a little bit rocky the first 2 times out for Kelly, so this first inning will be big for him confidence-wise as he moves forward in this start.
Well, he fell behind 2-0 early to Pandiccio. Now he threw a strike in there, so it's 2-1. And it's kind of a little bit odd to see a pitcher throw 2 straight balls to start things off. Might be a guy that needs to settle in a little bit. His best innings might be the 3rd, 4th, 5th innings.
That's what it has been so far on the season. He's battled back now to even the count at 2-2, ready with another pitch. And it's a tapper over towards the right side, gets past the pitcher, backed up by Simos, who will fire to first base to get the out.
And sometimes it just takes a guy a little bit longer to get settled in. You warm up in the bullpen, and then you actually have to face live pitching. And some pitchers actually build up strength over the course of a game. Some players might actually throw harder as the game progresses. I would say it's not as common as the pitcher that wears off as the game progresses, but Brendan Kelly's a guy that has some of his best work later in the game.
1 out and the base is empty now, and a pop foul out of play off to the left off the bat of Danny Garcia. The numbers overall for Kelly on the season, again, this is his 3rd start of the year. Good numbers, a 2-0 record, a .78 ERA. So far in 9 innings on the season, he's allowed just 4 hits and 1 earned run. He's walked 5 and struck out 12. Opposing hitters are batting just .138 against Brendan Kelly. It's now a 1-ball, 1-strike count on the left-handed swinging Danny Garcia. Right-hander on the mound, back into the windup, and the pitch. It is high, and the count goes to 2-1.
Brendan Kelly played for a very solid Hopkinton team this year. They advanced quite a ways in the MIAA state playoffs.
Here's the 2-1 pitch now, and it's sent in the air out to center field. Back at first was McKenzie. He now comes in a few paces and will make the catch for out number 2.
All that talk about Brendan Kelly struggling over the first inning or so and then settling in isn't living up to that tonight so far. 2 up, 2 down after falling behind early to Pandiccio. Battled back through 3 consecutive strikes to get the ground out. Now the fly out to center. 1 out away from a 1-2-3 first.
First has to deal with the first baseman, Nick White. He was on the mound when these two teams met in Milford's season debut, pitched well. And starts off with a pitch outside of the strike zone. Defensively for Milford tonight, it is Jacob Beater behind the plate, Matt Shaver at 3rd, Chris Brunt at short, Steven Simos at 2nd, and Danny Johnson at 1st. Left to right in the outfield, Sam Parker, Ben McKenzie, and Lucas Basile. A 1-ball, 1-strike count now on Nick White. As Kelly kicks and deals and sends one down and in. Fastball that missed to bring the count to 2-1. Left-handed batter now digs back in. As Kelly's ready with another pitch, and it's hit hard but foul down the first base line. just past the Leominster first base coach, and the count goes to 2-2.
One thing that really stands out to me about this Leominster lineup is you have a couple pitchers right in the middle of it. That just goes to show that you have a lot of two-way players. Nick White, a pitcher, pitched yesterday, pitched against Milford earlier in the year, and you have the starter, Sage Gray, in the cleanup spot.
Here's a 2-2 pitch, and it's hit right back up the middle. Knocked down by Kelly. It stays right at his feet, and he'll flip it to first base for the out that retires the side. So no issues in this first inning for Kelly. He sets down the side in order. And so the Milford Post 59 bats will take their first swings of the game when we come back next here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3 is brought to you in part by the Consigli Ruggiero Funeral Home. Located on Water Street in Milford, serving all faiths for over 50 years. David Consigli, the director. Coverage also brought to you in part by Milford Regional Medical Center, recently earning an A grade in patient safety. And coverage of Milford Legion Baseball is also brought to you in part by Bright Insurance Agency of Milford, the insurance professionals working for you. Tim Coet and Anthony Mazzini here with you on the call tonight. Craig D'Alessandro, our executive producer, back in our MyFM studios. As we enter into the bottom half of the first inning, Milford will send Ben McKenzie, Steven Simos, and Sam Parker to the plate against Sage Bray, the long-tenured starting pitcher for Leominster Post 151, the righty finishing his warm-up tosses. He had an injury to start the season, but it did not keep him out for long, and right back in the thick of it with this Leominster team that again, has posted a 16-2 record so far on the season. Not a lot of losses for this team, so consistent throughout the year. But again, did have a bump in the road last night with a tough game against Shrewsbury, a game that, looking at some of the recaps, Anthony, it appeared that Leominster had a 3-0 lead into the later innings of that game, but Shrewsbury able to work their way back in, as they do so often in the late innings, and they ended up stealing that game 4-3. So certainly a tough one in what has now been back-to-back playoff-type games for Leominster.
Well, Shrewsbury is a very, very talented team, but you look at their schedule, too. They still have about 7 games left to play. So they started a little bit late. They've had a lot of off days over the course of the year. They're pretty fresh, and you look at teams like Milford and Leominster who've played a bunch of games, approaching 20 games at this point. Shrewsbury is lagging in that category in terms of games played. So I think Shrewsbury is going to be one of those teams where they're going to come on a little bit late. Leominster and Milford are going to hang right in there, but it's going to make for a very exciting end of the year.
Yeah, of course, Shrewsbury, as we've talked about throughout the year, a late start to the season due to their high school team making it all the way to the Division I state championship game. So trying to make up for 2 lost weeks at the front end of the season. But meanwhile here, it's Milford and Leominster. Ben McKenzie with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike as the bottom of the first inning gets going.
Now, at the same time, that could come back to bite Shrewsbury because they're going to play a lot of games in a short period of time. So you could look and say right now for these first couple of games, it's going to benefit them because they're a little more fresh. But once you get to that 6th, 7th game, it could be a different story.
Sure, that's a team that's hoping they can just get to the playoffs in a good spot in the seedings, and then they can reset things from there when they're on an even playing field in terms of days off and days on with the rest of these teams in the zone. But it certainly has been a tough schedule for Post 397. Here's a 3-1 pitch, meanwhile, into McKenzie, and it's in for a called strike. McKenzie, so far on the season, one of the absolute hottest hitters in this Milford lineup, batting .559 through 11 games played. The 3-2 pitch is smacked out to left field. On the move goes Max Bigelow. He can't play it, and now it gets past him, and it will be extra bases for Ben McKenzie once again as he winds up at second base to open up the bottom of the first.
Well, that's a Pheno Field hop out in left field, Tim. I know that from experience a little bit, and that's a tough one. That should be a single. Either way, very hard hit ball by Ben McKenzie, but that ball got by the left fielder Bigelow. Nothing he really could have done about it. He was going to his left, and the ball kicked back to the right on one hop and right over him. Ends up being a double for Ben McKenzie, but right on cue, Tim, one of the hottest hitters in this Milford lineup, batting well over 500 now.
Had 3 doubles in the game 2 nights ago at Cherry Valley. Had a double last night. Now doubles, albeit a bit of a gift double to open this game here tonight. So those extra base hits have been mounting for Ben McKenzie. It's now 8 doubles on the season to go along with 2 triples. Steven Simos in there now with a count of no balls and 1 strike. Simos also on the plus side of 500 with the batting average at .525. So the Hopkinton players continuing to excel at the top of this Milford lineup.
And Hopkinton, the most prevalent school in this Milford lineup. The most well represented with 5 players from Hopkinton High.
0-2 now the count on Simos. Here's the pitch from Bray, and it's hit to the opposite field. It sneaks through the left side of the infield for a base hit. They'll hold McKenzie at third base. But Milford now with runners at the corners and nobody out.
Very good piece of hitting from Simos, just going the opposite way. The shortstop Hallowell was pinched a little bit towards second base. No double play opportunity, but he had to hold on. McKenzie out at second, so he was pinched towards second. And Samoas just went the other way and put it where the shortstop wasn't playing. Good piece of hitting.
So McKenzie at third base. Simos is the runner at first with now Sam Parker standing in, the big left-handed batter. Batting average took a bit of a dip last night, and as a matter of fact, last night was the first game in this 2019 season that Sam Parker has failed to reach base. He had an 18-game on-base streak going, but went 0 for 4 in the game yesterday with a couple of strikeouts as well. Did have a sacrifice fly in the game last night to drive in a run. No ball, 1 strike count. Here's the next pitch, and Parker hits it high but not deep out into right field. It is the second baseman who will travel out onto the grass to make the catch. McKenzie bluffs at third base, but he cannot go. And a big first out in the inning holds the runners in place.
That's a very, very big out, and especially even bigger that it doesn't get to the outfield. You easily could have traded a run for an out there if you're Leominster, but that ball popped up just outside the infield. Second baseman taking charge to make the catch, and that keeps the runner at third.
It's now an opportunity for Danny Johnson, who has really maximized his run-producing opportunities all season long. He remains in a tie with Sam Parker for the team lead in runs batted in with 22. He's going to get another one here as he drives one out into center field for a base hit. It's boxed around out there by Dylan Souza, and now Steven Simos will have a chance to advance to third. Down to second goes Johnson. As Milford will strike first in this game, they take a 1-0 lead.
And again, a tough ball in center field. The hops are a little bit tricky out there, but one that the center fielder Souza should have played a little bit more cleanly. Probably goes a single and then an error on the center fielder, allowing both runners to advance. Nonetheless, Milford gets a run to score, and now 2 runners in scoring position.
So already now a run on 3 hits for Milford. They were not able to generate much offense at all the first time that they faced Leominster. But again, it was a very different look to this Milford team. That was game 1 of the season when they only had 12 of their 18 players available, with their players from Hopkinton, Hopedale, all not available due to the MIAA playoffs.
And it was game 3 for Leominster too, so they had a little bit more of a full house.
Here comes a 1-0 pitch now to Brendan Kelly, up there now with an opportunity to help his own cause, the Milford starting pitcher, with a 1-2-3 first inning, and now bats with 2 in scoring position, and still just 1 out here in the home half of the first. Here comes the 2-0, and that narrowly misses outside, and it's a 3-ball no-strike count to Kelly. Kelly working that batting average back up after a rough start offensively. He's now over the 200 mark at 219 and is up to 9 runs batted in, as this pitch will miss for ball 4, so Kelly will walk. And Milford has the bases loaded now with only 1 out, and Matt Shaver coming to the plate.
This would be a big spot, would really set the tone here for Milford, having lost to Leominster earlier this year. Leominster coming off a loss. Who knows what their mindset is right now, just the second loss of the season, 4-post 151. They can put a big spot on the board here. That would really set the tone for the rest of the day.
First pitch to Shaver is going to miss high for a ball. Shaver has taken a very patient approach at the plate all season long. He's walked 14 times on the season. That's second only to Brendan Kelly, or excuse me, Sam Parker. And here he swings away, sends it off the pitcher. It's going to travel deep out towards the second baseman, who has no play. The pitcher out there as well trying to field it. Everyone is safe, and a run will score to put Milford on top 2-0. What a bizarre-looking play there.
Very bizarre, and Sage Bray is lucky to still be getting up and standing on the pitcher's mound. That was a hot shot aimed right for his head area. And it's very, very fortunate that that didn't get a piece of Bray. He got the glove up just in time, and it ricocheted out toward Dupuis at second. Very, very fortunate for Bray. He's struggling early in this game, but very lucky and very good to see that that ball didn't get a piece of him. Milford does get another run out of it, though. Hard hit off the bat of Shaver.
Screamer right back to the pitcher's mound, as Anthony mentioned. Bray able to get the glove up to take the full brunt of that ball coming back at him. It then took a hard ricochet, then kept on rolling on the grass on the right side all the way out towards second base. Bray and Dupuis both converged to try to make a play on it, but no chance to get an out on Shaver at first or in any other direction for that matter, so it will go as an RBI base hit for Shaver. The base is reloaded, and Milford with an opportunity to put a big number up in this first inning. Looking for something now out of Jacob Beater, and a big swing on the first pitch, and Beater comes up empty for strike one.
Well, if you're Leominster, you would be encouraged to have a guy like Sage Bray on the mound. You mentioned it, Tim, one of the longest tenured members of this Leominster team, a guy that's been in these situations before. Let's see if he can buckle down here.
Delivers an 0-1 pitch, and it's a tapper right out in front of the plate, fielded by the catcher. He can't come up with it cleanly and just has to hold on to it. Looks to be a little bit shaken up on top of it as a run comes in to score on a ball that traveled maybe about 5 feet in front of home plate. And Milford now with a 3-0 lead as Rocco Pandiccio limps back behind the plate.
Not exactly sure what happened there, Tim. Didn't get the best look at it. It looks like Pandiccio reached down to try to get the ball, and I assume he wanted to come back and try to tag home plate before the runner Johnson could come home and score. Maybe he twisted his ankle or bent the knee the wrong way, or maybe a groin. Who knows? But looks like he's going to stay in the game, but definitely doesn't look comfortable back there.
So Milford with back-to-back run-producing hits that barely made it past the pitcher's mound, one only making it a few feet out in front of the plate. But Post 59 will take the runs any way that they can get them. Danny Johnson coming in to score from third base. So it is now Kelly, the lead runner, at third, Shaver at second, Beater at first. Still just one out, and the 8th member of the Milford lineup to come to the plate in this inning, Lucas Basile. And another candidate to reach base on a ball that stays on the infield. Lucas Basile, who has the best wheels on this team, can absolutely fly on the bases, is no stranger to an infield hit or a bunt base hit. About to see a 1-1 pitch now, and it's just off the outside corner for ball 2.
Well, you think about that, Tim, and it's a situation where if the catcher Pandiccio's not moving too well, you can maybe drop one down if you really want to and try to force a run in that way.
Bray, a longer set, now comes to the plate and misses low, and it's a 3-ball, 1-strike count. And right now, Leominster is starting to get some activity stirring in their bullpen, no doubt much earlier than they ever would have anticipated. Right-hander to the set, here's the 3-1 pitch, and he's able to deliver it on the outside corner for a strike. Milford with 3 runs in this inning so far, a chance for more. With a Milford runner at every base, here is the 3-2 pitch, and it is outside for ball 4. And Bray will walk in a run here as Brendan Kelly will trot across the plate, and very quickly it is a 4-0 Milford lead.
Well, Tim, I don't know about you, but this is not the start for Leominster that I personally imagined coming into this game. Maybe for Milford, you know, I kind of expected them to come out and have a big game at home. But for Leominster, this is not the fight that I expected to see out of them.
The pitching has been very strong for Leominster all season long. We've seen good run totals for them offensively, and I guess if you're Leominster right now, the one thing you're saying to yourself in the dugout is just get out of this inning and give our offense a chance to try to chip away. But just doing a quick scan of the final scores for Leominster on the season. We'll do that more in just a minute as this ball is back up the middle off the bat of Chris Brunt. It was just past the dive of the shortstop. It rolls out into center field. 2 more runs come home, and Milford just pounding the baseball right now. They take a 6-0 lead. getting a few friendly bounces as well, but everything going Milford's way right now to build up a big lead on Leominster.
Yeah, the infield was partially in. They were about 3/4 of the way in, just a step or two, but that was enough to have the ball go right by the shortstop, Hallowell. Off his glove. If he was back a step or two, it might have been an easier play for him.
So a 2-run single for Chris Brunt, as now this ball is a liner to shortstop that's dropped by Hallowell, lets it roll behind him, and everyone will be safe. And right now the wheels are falling off for Leominster in this first inning.
Sometimes, Tim, it's just not your night. And when one thing goes wrong, another thing goes wrong, and it's a snowball effect. Everything just starts to pile up on you. That might be the case for Leominster here. One bad thing happens and you start to lose focus a little bit. And it looks like Bray's evening is done.
Only records 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. Faced 10 batters, allowed 6 runs. And in a blink, this game is quickly getting out of hand. So Leominster forced to go right to the bullpen after the 2-run single for Chris Brunt, followed by the error at shortstop, I should say, on the ball put in play by Ben McKenzie. So Milford will have the bases loaded yet again. When we come back next, we'll pause to catch our breath and for Leominster to make the pitching change. We have much more to come here on this coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. The new pitcher on for Leominster post 151 is Josh Proctor. The right-handed reliever inheriting a dicey situation. It is Lucas Basile at third, Chris Brunt at second, and Ben McKenzie at first. Milford already with a 6-0 lead. If you're just tuning into this game, you've missed quite a bit already as Milford has jumped out on top with the bats in the first inning. They've already chased the Leominster starting pitcher from the game. And now Steven Simo's up for the second time. He sends a ground ball to second base. It could be 2. The flip to the shortstop out at second base. The throw on to first is not in time. Simo's able to beat it out, and as a result, another run crosses the plate as Lucas Basile scores. And it is now a 7-0 lead.
And that run will be charged to Sage Bray. He's still responsible for the runner on third. That's Brunt.
So it's a fielder's choice and an RBI for Simo's. And now another chance at the dish for Sam Parker, who was the only Milford batter the first time around to not reach base. Takes the first pitch for ball 1.
You have to feel for Sage Bray a little bit. He didn't get the best help from his fielders. 2 errors in the inning. Right off the bat, Ben McKenzie to lead things off.
Runner takes off for second base as this ball is pounded out to right field. It's well over Garcia's head and will roll all the way to the old press box out in right center field. 2 runs will score as Parker continues around the bases. They will hold him up at third with a 2-run triple. And he puts the exclamation point on a powerful first inning for this Milford offense. They now jump on top 9-0.
Well, that closes the book on Sage Bray with that last run. 8 runs charged to him, now 1 charge to Proctor, and that was an absolute bullet over the right fielder Garcia's head. You mentioned earlier, Tim, that Parker broke his on-base streak yesterday. After popping out in his first at-bat, he got right back to it in a big way.
We've seen him show some tremendous power out to right field so far this season. The home run he hit out in Northborough earlier this season was to right field. We've seen now a couple of triples here at Fino Field hit out to right. A lot of power in that bat for Sam Parker. And now it is Danny Johnson at the plate. Took one over his head for ball 1. Now takes a pitch over the plate but high for ball 2. Proctor now releases another pitch and misses away, and it's a 3-ball, no-strike count.
Well, we have a feeling, Tim, that Leominster won't go down quietly. They're too good of a team. But 9 runs in the first inning.
A late strike call from the home plate umpire. Johnson hesitated, and when he didn't hear the call, he started down to first base, but then got the strike call from the home plate ump, so he digs back in with a 3-1 count. Here's the pitch, and it's lifted in the air out to center field. Souza back Still tracking that one back, now settles underneath to make the catch for the out that finally brings an end to the first inning, but not before 13 batters come to the plate for Milford in the bottom of the first inning. And in a blink, it is a 9-0 Milford lead on top of Leominster here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3 is brought to you in part by Oliva's Market Catering and Gift Shop. For your next family or business outing, visit Oliva's for all your catering needs. Coverage also brought to you in part by Milford Hardwood Quality Flooring at affordable prices. And coverage of Milford Legion Baseball is also brought to you in part by Pepperoncini's Pizzeria and Grill, a great menu for the whole family. Well, Anthony, we were all geared up for a playoff-like environment for this game tonight, two of the top teams in the zone, but not exactly the first inning that we were expecting, as all Milford does in their half of the first is post 9 runs on 7 hits.
I think the only thing we can expect now maybe going forward is this one's going to turn into a shootout. Leominster's going to claw its way back in. That's the kind of atmosphere and game we were expecting. That's what we have to hope for at this point. We're not going to get that 5-4, 6-3 game anymore. Have to hope that Leominster comes back, but what a statement from Milford in the bottom of the first inning. 9 runs on 7 hits.
And so meanwhile, it is Josh Proctor who leads off this top half of the second inning. Sage Bray, who did not even have an opportunity to take an at-bat in this game. He was scheduled to be the cleanup hitter, but out of this ball game, now the reliever Proctor in there in the number 4 spot in his place, and after taking the first 2 for strikes, they'll take one off the outside part of the plate to bring the count to 1-2.
If you're Leominster, you can't focus on getting them all back at once. Take it a few at a time. 3 runs here, 2 here, a run here. Take it slow.
Now a ground ball hit softly over to the left side. Brunt has to guard against Matt Shaver coming in towards third base, but he's able to stay with the play and make the throw to first base in time to get the out. That was almost a collision there on the left side, but Brunt able to get it done.
Well, I thought that ball was hit a little bit too slowly off the bat, but Proctor doesn't run all that well. And a nice play from Brunt charging in and throwing across his body for the first out.
So 6-3 on the ground out. And now a called strike into Anthony Silverio. And, of course, if you're Brendan Kelly at this point, Anthony, you're pitching free and easy out there with a big lead.
Well, we were talking earlier, Tim, about how he's more of a later inning guy after he settles into a game, but how can you not settle in at this point? I mean, they have 9 runs on the board. That's any pitcher's dream, is to have a big lead to come into the game.
Another one hit to short. This one a quicker pace as it travels through the infield, and no problem for Brunt to fire to first base to get the out on Anthony Silverio. And it's 2 up and 2 down in the top of the second.
And if you're Brendan Kelly and you know, yeah, maybe I struggle in the first inning or two, he now has the comfort knowing that, okay, if I give up a few hits here, a few hits there, they put 2 or 3 on the board, we still have a multi-run lead.
Pitching now with the bases empty and 2 down, and the first pitch is hit on the ground to first. Johnson will use the pitcher Kelly to cover the bag, and it is a quick shutdown inning for Brendan Kelly in the top of the second. Only about a half a dozen pitches needed to set down the side in order. And so right back to work go the Milford Bats after this. 9-0 Milford on top of Leominster here on MyFM 101.3. Bottom of the second inning now here at Pheno Field. A matchup of 2 of the top teams in the zone. Leominster post 151 at 16-2, Milford at 15-3. But it is Milford with the big advantage in this game, 9 runs in the first inning. And they go back to work now as they will send Brendan Kelly, Matt Shaver, and Jacob Beater to the plate. And Kelly with a vicious swing on the first pitch of the inning, but comes up empty for strike 1.
Yeah, that was a swing that, hey, we're not done yet. Kelly not taking it easy.
Now takes a pitch inside. As the count evens at 1, Kelly in the first inning walked and came around to score a run. Every single player in the Milford lineup reached base in that first inning. Now a pitch on the outside corner.
One thing we'll have to get used to tonight, Tim, is a delayed strike call.
Seen that a few times from a couple of umpires this season as Kelly now chops one over to shortstop. A clean play this time for Tom Hallowell, who will fire over to first to retire Kelly. And a better start to this inning for Leominster.
Sometimes the starter just doesn't have it, and again, as I was saying earlier, you got to feel for Sage Bray because he didn't get a lot of help behind him and he got a bad hop, but he just didn't have the stuff tonight. And Proctor came in and did as well as he could, only allowed one run that was charged to him.
Now facing Matt Shaver, who takes one over the middle for a called strike. Yeah, you wonder what might have been different in that first inning. You think back to those back-to-back plays with Matt Shaver and Jacob Beater. Shaver with the ball hit just off the pitcher's mound, and then Beater with the little chop just in front of the plate. Neither of those plays were made, and the route was on from there in the inning. There's a 1-1 pitch now, and Shaver swings and misses.
And you had the E6, too, at shortstop on Ben McKenzie in his second at-bat, just in and out of the glove of the shortstop Hallowell.
Certainly a lot for Leominster to think about for what might have been different in that inning. In the meantime, a different feel to this inning so far. After the ground out, Matt Shaver now with a swinging strike 3. He goes down. It's the first K for Leominster pitching, and Proctor now has 2 quick outs.
Proctor did really well to limit the damage as best he could. Now he looks like the guy they should have started.
Dealing with Jacob Beater now with 2 outs and the bases empty. Beater hits one foul right off the plate.
But that's also a case of hindsight's 20/20. Can't predict that.
That little chop for Beater in his first at-bat went for an RBI single. He also later scored a run in the frame. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count now. And now a ground ball hit over to shortstop. Hallowell scoops it up, and he'll sling it on to first base in time to get the out. That retires the side, so a much different complexion to the bottom of the second inning as Milford is retired 1-2-3. We've now played 2 full from Pheno Field, where it remains Milford 9 and Leominster nothing here on this coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3 is brought to you in part by Crystal Pool and Spa, the pool supply store that's all about fun, located on Route 140 in Bellingham. And coverage of Milford Legion Baseball is also brought to you in part by Cedar Hill Farm in Mendon, offering grass and corn-fed prepackaged meats with no hormones or added antibiotics. And just a quick reminder, all of our Milford Legion broadcasts, as well as all high school sports coverage here on MyFM, is powered by Tony State Line Power Products in Blackstone. And now for the call of inning number 3 here from Pheno, I turn it over to Anthony Mazzini.
Thank you very much, Tim. It's been all Milford through 2 innings as the first pitch to Dylan Souza misses away for ball 1. Here's the 1-0 from Brendan Kelly, swung on, fouled off down the third base line and over the dugout. It's been polar opposite so far in terms of pitching for both of these teams. Brendan Kelly for Milford, post 59, has been absolutely phenomenal. 2 innings. 1, 2, 3 innings in each of the first 2. For Leominster, it's been 9 runs on 7 hits. They've already used 2 pitchers. 1-1 swung on, lifted out to left. Charging in is Parker. He makes the catch for out number 1.
And Kelly continuing to pitch to contact effectively. No strikeouts in the game for Kelly, but he's been using his defense behind him, and they've been up to the challenge so far tonight.
No strikeouts for Kelly so far. Only 1 for Leominster. Hasn't been a big strikeout night. As we move to the number 8 batter, Tom Hallowell, the shortstop for Leominster, stands in on the right side. And the first pitch to him is swung on and grounded foul behind home plate. Might have gotten a piece of the catcher Beater. Leominster lost yesterday to Shrewsbury, just their 2nd loss of the year. And it was really a heartbreaker. Top of the 6th, Shrewsbury's Tyler Hopping hit a 2-run home run to propel the rally. Milford coming off a win against Grafton Hill. Here's the 0-1, misses up and away. The 1-1 from Kelly, swung on, fouled right over the backstop. Got a piece of something behind the stands here at Pheno Field. Alerted some of the fans who might not have been paying as close of attention as they should. Made a loud thump. And the count's 1-2 on Hallowell, the shortstop, for post 151. And Kelly's 1-2. Top of the zone, but just a little bit too high. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's an interesting game in the season series of these two teams dating back to 2015, a 5-5 matchup between these two teams.
2-2 swung on and lined out to left field for a base hit. The first of the night for Leominster, and it goes to the number 8 man, Tom Hallowell. And he's on with 1 out here in the 3rd inning. 9-0, Milford out in front.
Hallowell dropping that one in front of Sam Parker out in left field. So 5 victories for Milford, 5 for Leominster in their last 10 meetings. That includes a playoff matchup 2 seasons ago in which Milford traveled up to Leominster, ended post-151 season that year.
Number 9 man Mao now takes the first pitch on the outside corner for strike 1. Max Bigelow, the left fielder, rounds out the order for post-151. Johnson holding Hallowell on at first. Here's the 0-1. Misses a little bit low, 1-1. The third baseman Shaver playing in on the grass. Now he takes a few steps back onto the dirt. Maybe expecting a bunt here from Max Bigelow. Middle infield pinched in towards second. The 1-1. Fastball catches the outside corner for strike 2.
Bigelow did not have a hit when these two teams met all the way back on June 15th, went 0 for 3 out of this number 9 spot.
1-2 on the way. Misses upstairs. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out here in the top of the 3rd inning. Tom Hallowell is at first. He had a 1-out single just 1 batter ago. Runner not moving. Here's the 2-2 on the inside corner, strike 3. First strikeout for Brendan Kelly, and there's 2 down in the inning.
We talked about what a good job he's done pitching to contact, and so there now is the first strikeout of the game. Has a heavy fastball, as Coach DeVito puts it, and we've seen that velocity continuing to ramp up now as he gets more and more comfortable out there. We hear about it a lot in the big league game with Justin Verlander, who gets more comfortable as the game goes on. That fastball ratchets up a few miles per hour as the game goes on. Kelly cut from a similar cloth.
Back to the top of the order for Leominster. Rocco Pandiccio looks at strike 1. Good to see him still in the game. He came up limping after a ball off the bat of Jacob Beater just a few inches away from him, out in front of home plate. As that ball is grounded foul on the 1-0 pitch. 0-1, excuse me. Now make it 0-2 as Beater touched it in foul territory along the third base line. Pandiccio grounded out to second in his first at bat. Certainly a rarity to see a catcher leading things off in a lineup, but that's what Leominster does here tonight. Hallowell not moving. Pandiccio swings and misses on the 0-2. Back-to-back strikeouts for Brendan Kelly, and that ends the inning. Leominster gets his first hit, but can't do anything with it. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. You're listening to Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3. Bottom of the 3rd here at Pheno Fields. Alongside Tim Coette, I'm Anthony Mazzini. Thank you for joining us here on My FM 101.3. And if you're a Milford fan, I would imagine you're pretty happy. 9-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. It's been all post 59. 9 runs in the first inning on 7 hits. Josh Proctor still on the mound for Leominster. He came in a messy situation back in the first inning, replaced starter Sage Bray, and did the best he could to limit the damage. And he had a scoreless 2nd inning. So he's back out there to face the bottom of the Milford order, starting with Lucas Basile, then Chris Brunt, and then back to the top. And the first pitch to Basile is on the outside corner for strike 1.
You know, that first inning had to feel so good for this offense. We've seen it a lot of times over the course of the season, Anthony. First innings in which Milford has had the opportunity to really gain some separation early. They haven't been able to do it, but this game was a very different story.
The 0-1 bunted right back to Proctor, too hard off the bat of Basile. He has speed, but not fast enough. And Proctor throws him out at first for the first out. 4 consecutive batters retired now for Proctor. 5 if you go back to the end of the first inning.
It's been a complete different feel to the game since Proctor's been out there.
The number 9 man, Chris Brunt, swings and misses on the first pitch to him for strike 1. Brunt singled home 2 runs in his first at-bat back in the first inning. Part of 7 hits in the first inning for Milford. 0-1, misses upstairs for ball one. 1-1 now to Brunt. The shortstop for Milford wearing yellow tops with the white bottoms. Breaking ball drops in for strike 2. 1-2 the count. Proctor working quickly. From the windup, here's the pitch. On the outside corner, caught Brunt looking. Second strikeout for Proctor since coming in. A lot of pitching to contact early. Now we're starting to see some strikeouts from both pitchers.
We can't get much more of a contrast for Milford offensively than what we've seen. 9 runs, 7 hits in the first inning. They have not had a base runner since.
Back to the top of the order for Ben McKenzie now as Proctor's first pitch. Breaking ball drops in for strike 1. This is already McKenzie's third at bat. He's reached base both times, a double, scored a run, and reached on an E6. 0-1 misses down low. 1 ball, 1 strike to McKenzie. 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. 9-0. Post 59. Pitch misses high. 2 balls and 1 strikes to McKenzie.
So hard to keep off the bases. The on-base percentage coming into tonight's game, .689. That will continue to rise with 2 times on base tonight.
McKenzie swings at the 2-1, lifts it out to right field. Garcia, a step or 2 to his right, now comes in and makes the catch for out number 3. Another 1-2-3 inning for Josh Proctor. Milford has really quieted down since that explosion in the first inning, but post 59 still maintains a 9-0 lead as we head to the 4th inning. You're listening to Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3. Back here at the Fino Field, top of the 4th inning, 9-0 Milford lead. Haven't missed much, just 1 out so far here in this inning. Danny Garcia hit a first pitch ground ball to the second baseman Simos, and he fielded it cleanly for out number 1. That brings in Nick White, the number 3 hitter in this Leominster lineup. He's 0 for 1 so far. His only at bat came back in the first, and he grounded right back to the pitcher. Nick White pitched yesterday for Leominster in the loss to Shrewsbury. He threw all 7 innings, allowed 4 runs, 9 hits, and struck out 2. 2-0 the count to Nick White. Leominster loaded the bases in the bottom of the 7th inning, but could not score yesterday to try to mount a comeback against Shrewsbury. Kelly's 2-0. Misses high and away, 3-0.
Yeah, we mentioned Nick White got the start the first time around when these two teams met. Went 5 innings in that game. Did allow 2 earned runs on 5 hits. Had 6 strikeouts. Ended up picking up the victory in a game that Leominster was able to win 7-3.
Kelly's 3-0 misses down and in. Almost got a piece of White on the back leg. He'll take his base. Only the second base runner for Leominster. A single and now a walk. That puts a runner on here in the top of the 4th inning with 1 out. For the meat of the order now, Josh Proctor. This was Sage Bray's spot, the cleanup spot, as the first pitch is swung on and fouled right back to the screen. But Sage Bray never got a chance to bat. Leominster went 1-2-3 in the first inning. Sage Bray went on to pitch and didn't make it out of the first inning. Josh Proctor replaced, and he's been in this spot since. The 0-1 breaking ball fades outside, 1-1.
And of course, Anthony brings up the meat of the order. We've seen plenty of production from the Milford meat of the order. Leominster hoping for the same. And the meat of the order, as always, brought to you by Cedar Hill Farm, offering grass and corn-fed prepackaged meats with no hormones or added antibiotics. See, we didn't even rehearse that, Anthony. You went seamlessly right into the ad.
It's like I've been doing this. It's like I know some things that, geez, that's funny. That was funny. That was good. Teed you up. You shouldn't have said anything. We should have made it sound like we planned it.
That was a big league play.
2-1 to Proctor. Here's the pitch. Looked at on the outside corner for strike 2. Nick White taking an aggressive secondary lead after every pitch, but is not moving. With a 9-run deficit, Leominster not taking any chances. A long stare in from Kelly, comes set. White not moving again. The pitch swung on and fouled over the screen. Still a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Proctor. 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning. Milford on top 9-0. All 9 were scored in the first inning, most of which were charged to Leominster starter Sage Bray. Kelly comes set, and the 2-2. Again, swung on, chopped off of home plate, and trickles foul over Jacob Beater, the catcher's head. Good at bat here from Josh Proctor.
And these last two innings, Leominster trying to make Kelly work a little bit more. They've been working some deeper pitch counts. We're able to just get one runner on last inning on the Hallowell single. Now a one-out runner aboard after the walk to White.
Another 2-2 coming from Kelly. Looked at, breaking ball, didn't catch the outside corner. Some oohs and ahs from the Milford faithful, but it goes as a ball. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
About 100 umpires in the stands wanted to see that rung up for strike 3.
White still at first with 1 out. He's off. The payoff pitch swung on, lined up the middle hard, and that's a base hit over the head of the second baseman, Simos, and White races all the way to third on a single for Josh Proctor.
It turns into a very nice hit and run play for Leominster as White was off on the first move from Kelly, and after that ball sliced over Simos' head, no problem for White to go first to third. So something cooking here for Leominster now, runners at the corners with just 1 down.
Well, Tim, we had a feeling that they weren't going to go down quietly, and the key is to not just get ahead of yourself and try to get them all back at once, but this is too good of a lineup to just let this stand as a 9-0 lead. You had a feeling Leominster was going to come back.
And again, you look up and down the results for Leominster this season, so many huge offensive outputs. This is an offense that is capable of doing exactly what Milford did in the first inning, and that's put up a crooked number. So Milford can't take a back seat in this game. They have to continue to play hard right to the end.
First pitch to Anthony Silverio misses away for ball 1. First and third now for Leominster with 1 out. Top of the 4th inning from Fino Field. The 1-0 on the bottom of the zone in the outside corner for strike 1. First baseman Johnson holding on the runner at first. It's Proctor with White at third. Silverio's 0 for 1, ground out to short in the second. The pitch misses upstairs. 2 balls and 1 strike. This is really the first inning that Kelly has labored. 1, 2, 3 in each of the first 2 innings. Only 1 base runner allowed in the third. Had back-to-back strikeouts to end that inning. The 2-1 to Silverio. Up and in, but catches the strike zone for strike 2. Now manager Jeff Didion for Leominster has a few words with the home plate umpire.
And now the home plate umpire with a few words back. Getting a little heated out there down the third base line.
Took the mask off and walked halfway down the third base line to have that exchange.
Couldn't make out everything that was said, but you could hear Coach Didion tell him, we're still playing out here, not liking that strike zone.
The 2-2 on the outside corner, strike 3. And the home plate umpire immediately looked down to the third base coach, Jeff Didion, and now he's tossed. Leominster's manager has been tossed. He tosses his helmet into the dugout, and that's it for Jeff Didion.
Well,
that is gone.
That is not something you see very often. You can understand the frustration on the Leominster side with just how things have gone early in this game, but you always have to be careful, Anthony, as a manager in that kind of situation. You only get one freebie like that per season. Now, Coach Didion, I believe, will now be suspended for Leominster's next game, and if he were to be tossed again this year, he will be out and forced to serve, I believe, a season suspension for that. So they take those things very seriously. They don't want to see things get out of hand with the coaches out on the field. So Coach Didion now is going to make his way completely off the field. Once you're ejected, you have to completely leave the field, so you can see him now making his way out behind the backstop.
Swung on by the next hitter, Matt Dupuis, and that's into right field for a base hit. White scores. Proctor on his horse. He goes into third standing up. Leominster is on the board. It's now 9-1 here in the top of the 4th inning. With all that confusion, it was Matt Dupuis at the plate, and he took the first pitch from Brendan Kelly out to right field hard between the first and second baseman for a base hit. So that puts Leominster on the board, and maybe that ejection gives them a little bit of life.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this is a situation where these players can easily go into a mode where they want to rally together for their head coach. And Coach Didion was still making the slow stroll away from the field when he saw that hit, so That's certainly a good response that he likes to see from his team. And, again, Anthony, looking at that situation, you want to see cooler heads prevail. Perhaps Coach Didion could have made one less comment down that third base line, but you also have to look at the umpire there in that situation, taking the exaggerated strikeout call, looking right down almost in a taunting fashion to Coach Didion. Not exactly great form on the umpire side either.
Not at all. The runner's on the move. Dupuis won't matter as the ball is lined out to second on a few hops. And Simos handles it for out number 3. Leominster does get a run. They're back within 8. Score is 9-1 as we move to the bottom of the 4th inning. Manager for Leominster, Jeff Didion, is gone. He has been ejected. Brendan Kelly surrenders his first run for Milford, but still a big lead for Post 59 as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Milford has the big bats coming up when we come back. You're listening to Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3.
Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3 is brought to you in part by the Crystal Room. Book your next function at the Crystal Room on Cedar Street in Milford. They can accommodate up to 300 people. Coverage also brought to you in part by Mass Renewables of Bellingham, providing you with clean solar energy and battery backup solutions. And coverage of Milford Legion Baseball is also brought to you in part by the Massachusetts Correction Officers Federated Union, supporting all first responders, police, and fire personnel. Back to Anthony Mazzini for the start of the bottom of the 4th inning.
2-3-4 due up for Milford here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Steven Simos looks at ball 1 from Josh Proctor. He's been good in relief. He's really settled this game down and quieted the Milford bats. The 1-0 to Simos is swung on and lifted out to left center, and that falls in front of the center fielder Souza for a base hit. Fields it on a couple hops and gets it back in. But Simos is on for the 3rd time today, his 2nd hit. He's already scored twice.
And you have to wonder if maybe that ejection will put a little bit more juice onto both sides of this game. Both teams felt like they maybe lulled themselves to sleep a little bit when this game got so far out of hand, but now after the dramatic toss of Coach Didion last inning, maybe now Milford will start to get themselves back into this game as well.
Quick check at first base. Simos back standing up. Sam Parker, the hitter for Milford, with Simos at first. And the breaking ball for the first pitch drops in for strike 1. It was almost like a cup of coffee, Tim. You had the first one when you wake up in the morning, the 9 runs for Milford. Then you get to about midday, and you need that second cup, a little pick-me-up. As Simos again checked it first, this time a dive back in safely.
Sometimes you need those 2 cups of coffee in rapid-fire succession right first thing in the morning just to get going the first time.
Parker swings at the 1-1, sends it out to left. Bigelow dives, can't make the play. Goes by him. Parker rounds into second. Simos stands into third. And Milford has 2 runners in scoring position with nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th inning, looking to add on to their 9-1 lead.
I think if Max Bigelow had that to do all over again, Anthony, he would probably pull up and play that ball on a hop. He made the hero attempt in the headlong dive in towards the infield, but came up a good several feet short of the baseball. Probably would have been much better served playing that ball into a single. Instead, now Milford with 2 runners in scoring position.
Already the 2nd extra base hit of the day for Sam Parker. Brings in the cleanup hitter, and a big wave and a miss on the first pitch from Danny Johnson. He falls behind 0-1. Johnson singled in the first inning. Reached second on an error by the center fielder. 0-1, tapped out in front of home plate, foul, as it rolls down the third base line. Simos at third, Parker at second. Johnson looking to bring them in, nobody out, but an 0-2 count. And here's the pitch. Misses up and in, ball 1.
7 different players in this Milford lineup have driven in runs so far in this game. The only 2 that have not collected an RBI yet are the leadoff hitter Ben McKenzie and the number 5 hitter Brendan Kelly.
Defensive swing from Johnson on the 1-2, and he swings and lifts it foul over the first base dugout. Johnson now, Brendan Kelly on deck. Nobody out, 9-1 Milford here in the bottom of the 4th. Proctor steps off before delivering the 1-2. Now resets to get some new signs from his catcher, Rocco Pandiccio. Comes set to the chest. Here's the pitch, high for ball 2. Two-two. Swung on, lifted high into center field, not deep. Souza charging in. The runner from third bluffs. Throw is a good one back in from Souza. Simos bluffed, wasn't going anywhere. Tried to draw the throw, he got it, but it was a great one from Souza. And that's a big first out for Leominster.
Yeah, not quite deep enough for Simos to legitimately try and score on that play. Did the hard bluff, hoping that maybe that throw would have been offline, but it was a good one from Souza right in the air and to the glove of Pandicio. So the runners stay put now with one out in the inning.
Simos still at third, Parker still at second with now one out. Brendan Kelly digs in on the left side. And the first pitch to him is a breaking ball that falls in at the knees for strike one. Kelly's been on base once. He walked and scored in the first. The 0-1 misses away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Big spot here for Milford, already with an 8-run lead. 2 more runs would give them 10, and after that it's a mercy after 5 innings. 2-1-1 is a breaking ball in the dirt. Good stop from Pandicio to keep the runners right where they are. He slid to his right to block that ball off the chest protector. Two-1, swung on and fouled off of the front leg of Brendan Kelly. That was an odd swing and an odd foul ball. Didn't travel very far once it hit him. Looks like it got him on the upper leg.
Home plate umpire is going to give Kelly a couple of minutes to collect himself outside of the batter's box as he clears some dirt off of home plate.
9-1 Milford, bottom of the 4th. Runners on second and third with 1 out. Kelly facing a 2-2. Here's the pitch. In the dirt, another good stop from Pandicio, and the count runs full. Matt Shaver on deck for Milford. Infield not playing in. Corners even with the bag. The payoff pitch is in the dirt, ball 4. Another good stop from Pandicio, but Kelly takes his base. And the bases are loaded for post 59 with just 1 out.
Well, threatening to get back on the scoreboard again now. We talked about how nice a job Proctor did at settling this game down. At one point, retiring 7 batters in a row, but he's now allowed 3 of the first batters to reach in this 4th inning, and now an opportunity presenting itself for Shaver.
Shaver looks at ball 1, high and tight. The lone Milford High representative. Only 1 Milford High School player on this year's 2019 roster. The 1-0 to Shaver. Catches the outside corner for strike 1, and now Pandicio runs out to have a word with his pitcher, Proctor. And that's something we were talking about earlier, Tim. Completely different this year. Only 1 Milford High School representative. Some Milford residents, but only 1, and that's Shaver.
Yeah, bringing that prestige from the Milford Scarlet Hawks team. He has it all resting on his shoulders this season. It was a solid year for the Scarlet Hawks. A lot of good individual performances. Shaver was really one of the best, a captain on that team, played very well, was the leading RBI man on the Milford High team this season.
The 1-1 was a breaking ball, and it dropped in for strike 2. So here's the 1-2 now from Proctor to Shaver. He swings and bounces it towards first. White fields it, has no choice but to go to first. Proctor trying to cover, not in time as Shaver beat it out. Both players went tumbling down. Simos scores on the infield single. It was a bang-bang play at first. Both managers are making their way over towards the first base bag. I should say the Milford manager, Steve DeVito. Jeff Dedian has been ejected from this game for Leominster. It's an assistant coach making his way over, and the Milford player is okay. Matt Shaver appears to be fine. Coach DeVito making his way back over to manage third base. Proctor also came up a little bit sore, as both seemed to step on the bag at roughly the same time, collided into each other. But it goes as an infield single nonetheless with another run scoring for post 59.
Yeah, it's one of those plays where it's so easy to turn an ankle, especially for Shaver. He was coming into the bag right on that outside edge as he tried to avoid contact with Proctor and also to get there ahead of the play. Got right off that corner of the bag and then went tumbling down. Proctor as well hitting the deck, but fortunately both players look to be okay.
10-1 now, Milford. Jacob Beater looks at ball 1. The catcher for Milford batting in the 7th spot as Pandicio goes out to have another word with Josh Proctor.
You have to wonder if maybe here there's a little bit on the Leominster side concerned about Milford maybe stealing the signs. They've had a lot of runners down to second base. You had Parker down there for a long time prior to that last hit, and now with Kelly down there, Leominster being very cautious as they go through their signs.
Bases juiced for Milford, the 1-0 to Beater, a big swing and miss. He was trying to bring all the runners home with that swing, but swung right through it for strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jacob Beater. A single and a ground out to his credit so far. Breaking ball on the 1-1 drops in for strike 2. And it's a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Parker at third, Kelly at second, Shaver at first for Milford. And the 1-2 from Proctor. Swung on, lined, foul down the third base line, just a few feet to the left of the chalk.
Very fortunate for Leominster that that ball was foul. If that had hugged the line, would have been a minimum of 2 runs crossing the plate for post 59.
Outfield playing straight up on Beater. Infield for Leominster playing at double play depth. Corners even with the bag, middle infield hugging the second base bag. Here's the 1-2 in the dirt. Another really good stop from Pandicio. Gets behind him for a moment, but it got the left foot of the home plate umpire to keep it within an arm's reach.
It's not been the easiest game for Pandicio behind the plate, but he's hung in there.
Pandicio has been a brick wall for the most part. And the 2-2 coming from Proctor to Beater. Caught him looking, breaking ball, had him frozen. Big strikeout for Josh Proctor, and they're 2 away.
It looked like Beater was just not picking up the breaking ball very well out of the hand of Proctor. He took 2 for strikes in that at bat. And now we see the acting manager for Leominster back out there. Looks like he's going to make the pitching change.
Indeed he will. He takes the ball from Josh Proctor. The right fielder, Garcia, making his way in. Another substitution will be on the way, and we'll have all that for you when we come back. The bases are loaded for Milford. There are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning, and post 59 trying to add on to their 9-run lead. You're listening to Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3. The evening is done for Josh Proctor. When all is said and done, he was really, really good considering how this game started. 4 post 151. Leominster surrendered 9 runs in the first inning. Only 1 run since. Proctor still responsible for 3 runners on base. The bases are loaded, but now Danny Garcia coming in to pitch for Leominster. And now Proctor needs somebody to help him out to try to get out of this jam, the same way that Proctor came in to try to help out Sage Bray. He limited the damage for Bray, and now Garcia hopes to do the same for Proctor. He'll face Lucas Basile when the time comes, lefty-on-lefty matchup. But this is a big spot because right now this game is still not within mercy rule standards, only a 9-run lead for Milford, 10-1 here in the bottom of the 4th after 5 innings. A 10-run lead would make that a mercy rule. So this is a big spot here for both teams. Milford with a chance to put themselves in a spot to end this game early. Leominster hopes to extend it. Lefty-on-lefty matchup. Garcia's first pitch to Basile, swung on and fouled off of the catcher Pandicio for strike 1. And he jogs around the batter's circle to give himself a little bit of a break. Parker at third, Kelly at second, with Shaver at first. The 0-1, slow breaking ball right at the knees for strike 2. Garcia wearing the high socks. Leominster with orange, blue, and white tops with white pants. And the 0-2 to Basile. Another breaking ball, jammed him, swung on, grounded to third. Silverio, easy play to tap the third base bag for the force out. That ends the inning. Milford strands the bases loaded. It could have been a lot worse. They get 1 run, but good pitching from Proctor and then Garcia in relief to end the inning. 10-1 Milford after 4. You're listening to Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3. The battle of two of the top three teams in the zone so far has not lived up to the billing. It's 10-1 Milford. 9 runs in the first inning. They just tacked on another run in the bottom of the fourth. Leominster got its only run in the top of the fourth inning. So far, it hasn't been the game that either of us have really imagined, Tim, but at least Leominster has put a little bit of fight in. At least since their manager has been ejected, that really seemed to propel things a little bit.
Yeah, it really has just been a wild night. Very, very different than how we expected this game to go down before things got started. If you take out that first inning for Milford, these middle innings have felt a little bit more along the lines of maybe what we expected, but again, it's still a big mountain for Leominster to climb at this point with the 10-1 deficit. Right now, just barely clinging on here underneath the mercy rule threshold, so they'll try to certainly get back on the scoreboard here to keep things interesting going into the later innings.
The lights are on now at Pheno Field as evening starts to settle in, approaching 8:30 here in Milford at Pheno Field. Anthony Mazzini and Tim Coet along for the ride with you tonight. Top 5, Milford on top 10-1. Brendan Kelly still pitching, and his first pitch to the number 8 man, Tom Hallowell, is in the dirt for ball 1. Hallowell 1 for 1, singled in his first and only at bat back in the third. And the 1-0 also down and away, 2-0. Hallowell recorded the first hit for Leominster. They have since recorded 2 more. The 2-0 in the dirt. Kelly falling behind now, 3-0. This is reminiscent of his first batter of the game when he fell behind. Ended up going 1-2-3 in the first inning. But a pitcher that usually excels as he progresses into his outing.
He's had some long waits in this game, obviously that first inning, and then a longer wait in between these last 2 innings.
A 3-0 catches the outside corner, 3-1 now. 8-9-1 due up for Leominster here in this top of the 5th inning. As the pitch is swung on and missed. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
That pitch had a little bit more of the bite to it that Kelly was looking for in those earlier pitches, missing his location by quite a bit on those first couple, but he's battled back now to fill the count.
Payoff pitch coming. And it's swung on, chopped high towards third. Shaver fields it with his bare hand, a nifty play, but it was called foul.
I don't know if that was by design from Shaver. I think the ball caught him more than he caught the ball, but he was able to make the clean play. Barehanded, was ready to release that throw, but the ball ruled foul.
And he might have had a shot if it was a fair ball. Hallowell runs pretty well, but that ball was hit pretty well. Nonetheless, still a 3-2 count, and here's the pitch from Kelly. Again swung on, and again towards Shaver. He gets a juicy hop right up around his head. Low throw, but Johnson makes the play at first with a nice stretch for out number 1.
Yeah, much easier play that time for Shaver. Got the nice high hop. Not the best throw over to first base, but dug out nicely by Danny Johnson to record the first out.
1 up, 1 down in the top of the 5th for Leominster. Max Bigelow, the hitter, the left fielder, struck out looking back in the 3rd. And he swings at the first pitch and sends it wide of third on the ground foul. Milford came in at 3rd in the zone behind Leominster and Shrewsbury. More wins than Shrewsbury, 15 compared to 12, but a 12-2 record for Shrewsbury looks better in terms of win percentage than Milford's 15-3, as the 0-1 is looked at on the outside corner by Bigelow for strike 2. But a win tonight would push Milford into a tie with Leominster at 16-3. The 0-2 to Bigelow. High for ball 1.
And it was something we talked about during our Coach's Corner interview prior to the game. Coach DeVito telling us that all 3 of these top teams in the zone have the opportunity to control their own destiny were they to win out on the season.
The 1-2, one hopped into the dirt, beater with a backhand stop. Nobody on base, it wouldn't have mattered if it got by him. Makes it a 2-2 count.
And so basically for Milford fans, that means if Milford wins all their remaining games, they will be the Zone 4 champs.
Kelly thought he had strike 3 on that 2-2 pitch, but it missed a little bit away, and the count goes full for the 2nd consecutive batter. Shrewsbury is playing a doubleheader today up at Holy Cross in Worcester. And the payoff pitch misses away from Kelly, ball 4. And the right-hander walks the number 9 man. Bigelow is on at first base. Sends it back to the top of the order now, Rocco Pandisio.
We'll see if Milford eventually gets some bullpen activity going in this inning. It's been more pitches over these last 2 frames for Kelly.
As the first pitch to Pandisio drops away for ball 1. Pandisio 0 for 2, ground out, strikeout. Bigelow not a big lead at first, held on by Johnson. The pitch swung on, ground ball to short. Brunt fields it, goes to second for 1, on to first. Low throw, dug out by Johnson, and it's a double play. A nice scoop by Danny Johnson at first base. A tailor-made ground ball, an excellent turn by Brunt and Simos. Not the best throw on the back end, but a great scoop from Danny Johnson for Milford to record the 6-4-3 double play to end the inning. Still 10-1 after 4.5. You're listening to Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3.
Coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3 is brought to you in part by Cedar Hill Farm in Mendon, offering grass and corn-fed prepackaged meats with no hormones or added antibiotics. Coverage also brought to you in part by Harshaw Paving and Reclamation. Filling all your paving needs, call them today at 1-800-ASPHALT. And coverage of Milford Legion Baseball is also brought to you in part by the UPS Store, with locations in Milford and Franklin for all your shipping and printing needs. One more time, let's turn it back over to Anthony Mazzini.
Milford 1 run away from ending this game early. 4.5 innings gone. Bottom of the 5th coming up at 10-1 Milford lead. 10 runs after 5 innings would end it. Milford sends 9-1-2 up to the plate here at Pheno Field on what is really a beautiful Wednesday night. A great night for baseball. Hot, but not too hot. No wind. Maybe could have used a little to cool it down a little, but sometimes it can get really windy down here at Pheno Field, which creates a whole host of problems. Chris Brunt, the number 9 man, he's out at short. Started the double play to end the inning and swings at the first pitch from Garcia and fouls it over the backstop for strike 1.
It was a pretty double play for Milford. Everybody doing everything they needed to do. A nice quick throw to second base for Brunt. Simos not the best throw from second base, but he had to release it in a hurry, and a nice play on the back end by the first baseman Johnson.
0-1 from Johnson, lined out to right, and it's in and out of the glove of Robichaud out in right field. Kind of a on his knees, indecisive dive as he was charging in. Wasn't hit all that deep. Robichaud had to come charging in, but that'll go as an E9 to get things going here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Milford has the leadoff man on.
Yeah, he made that play look tougher than it needed to be. He was there in time, went down on the knees. The ball hit him squarely in the pocket of the glove, and then just popped back out again for the error.
Milford has had the leadoff man on in 3 different innings, and they have scored in each of those innings. First pitch in there to Ben McKenzie, looked at for strike 1.
And if you're Leominster, you know you're operating without a net here. One more run crosses the plate, and this game comes to an end. The last thing you want to do is put runners on ahead of this lethal combination atop the Milford lineup.
Lefty's pitch is swung on. McKenzie swings, pops it up near first, in and out of the glove of White in fair territory. He fires on to first. Dupuis was there to cover for out number 1. Correction, that was Hallowell, the shortstop over there covering. A difficult play for White. McKenzie still had to run that ball out, and that ball was practically right on top of the first base foul line. White dropped it and fired to second. So McKenzie replaces Brunt. Really no harm done there, and it's 1 out for Milford.
Yeah, a ton of moving parts there, all in the same spot. You had the runner already there at first base, the fielder coming in to make the play, McKenzie coming down the line, a lot converging there. The ball ends up dropping, but Leominster, quick reaction to get that out down at second base.
Another lefty-on-lefty matchup now. Steven Simos swings at the first pitch from Garcia and lines it back to the backstop for strike 1. Simos has been on base all 3 times he's come to the dish. Single, fielder's choice. Recorded an RBI on that fielder's choice and singled in the 4th. He scored all 3 times. The pitch swung on, popped up foul over the press box and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes to the left-handed hitting second baseman. With Ben McKenzie at first, there's 1 away. here in the bottom of the fifth. Milford on top, 10-1. 1 run away from a mercy rule win. The pitch looked at, off speed. Simos left it low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The pitch misses away. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Simos, with McKenzie at first and Sam Parker waiting on deck. Not a big lead for McKenzie. And the 2-2 is on the outside corner. Delayed strike call from the home plate umpire. But Simos goes down looking. He jogs back to the Milford dugout. He's the second out of the inning.
A nasty pitch at the knees of Steven Simos. And Leominster continues to bring out quality relievers out of their bullpen.
4 strikeouts now for Leominster pitching. Sam Parker, the hitter, stands in on the left side, just the batter's box after looking at ball 1. McKenzie still at first. Milford trying to end this game early. They'd have to get McKenzie around. The 1-0 to Parker. Catches the outside corner for strike 1. If Leominster does get a chance to bat in the 6th, it'll be 2-3-4 due up. Milford hopes it doesn't get that far. The 1-1 from Garcia. Low, hard fastball, misses. 2-1.
Just a quick check at some of the activity going on around the zone. You mentioned the doubleheader for Shrewsbury. They took care of business in Game 1, a mercy rule win 15-4 over Northbridge.
So that pushes them to 13-2. As Parker's ahead in the count 3-1. Garcia's last pitch missed low. 10-1 Milford here in the bottom of the 5th. Check it first. White was actually moving off the bag. He thought that Garcia was delivering that pitch home. Luckily for Leominster, White was there to still make the catch. Now Garcia's pitch, the 3-1, and that's ball 4. So Parker walks. He's on base for the 3rd time now. 2 hits and now the walk. And that brings in Danny Johnson. Runners on first and second for Milford. Runner in scoring position. Chance to end this early.
This is the guy you want up in this situation. Danny Johnson, with 22 runs batted in on the season, 13 of those runs batted in have come with 2 outs.
And he looks at ball 1 out of Garcia's left hand, up and away. Danny Johnson, Mendon resident, Mount St. Charles product, just graduated. And the 1-0 from Garcia hits the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 outs, 10-1 Milford, bottom 5. Kenzie at second with Parker at first. And Garcia's pitch misses low. 2 balls and 1 strike.
That pitch not missing by very much.
Johnson has had 2 F8s so far, also singled in the first, came around to score. Pitch, big swing and a miss. Now a snap throw all the way out to second, gets over Dupuy's head. McKenzie races into third base. Bad decision from the catcher, Rocco Pandiccio.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, Anthony, what he was thinking there. The runner was not that far off the bag, did not have a particularly large secondary lead. He came up immediately, made the decision to send the snap throw down, and just released a high arcing throw that sailed over the fielder's head.
Airmailed it. 2-2 from Garcia, up and away. 3-2. The mercy run 90 feet away from scoring for post 59. Garcia recollects himself behind the mound. The infield playing back. White playing behind the runner at first. That's Parker. He's off with the pitch, and it's up and away, ball 4. Now the base is loaded for post 59. Only one of the runs really matters. Associate head coach Chris Dube out from the Leominster dugout to have a mound visit with his left-handed pitcher, Danny Garcia.
It looked like he was going to get out of this inning after the strikeout of Simos. A runner at first base with 2 outs, but since then back-to-back walks and then That head-scratching pickoff play to second base from the catcher, and now Milford with the bases loaded, and a lot of ways that this game can end as Brendan Kelly comes up to the plate.
Milford scored 9 runs in the first inning to take this commanding lead. They've only scored 1 since, but they put themselves in a good position right away. 13 batters came to the plate in that first inning. They scored again in the fourth and threatening to score more here in the fifth. Garcia working from the windup now, and his first pitch drops in for strike one. It was a breaking ball. Brendan Kelly on the left-handed side. Throws right. He's tonight's starting pitcher for Milford. Again from the windup, Garcia's 0-1 on the outside corner, strike two. Garcia working quickly with the bases loaded. The winning run is at third. That's McKenzie. Here's the 0-2. Swing and miss, strike three. Danny Garcia preserves Leominster's life for at least one more inning. 10-1 as we go to the sixth. Tim will have the call for you as we move to the later innings. You're listening to Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3.
We've made it to the sixth inning here at Pheno Field. Milford on top of Leominster by a score of 10-1. Milford 10 runs on 10 hits with no errors. Leominster just 1 run on 3 hits, now 3 errors in the game. And Brendan Kelly is back out on the mound for his 6th inning of work. Kelly has had things under control for the most part. The only blemish was that 2-out RBI single from Matt Dupuis in the 4th. Just a run on 3 hits, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts for Kelly. He will face off against batters 2, 3, and 4. Here in the top of the 6th inning, Tim Coette and Anthony Mazzini here on the call for Milford Legion Baseball. The right-hander Kelly's first pitch of the inning is high for ball 1. Leominster came into this game today having scored a total of 189 runs on the season. More on that in a moment. This pitch rifled down the right field line. It's a fair ball. It rolls off all the way to the right field corner. It's extra bases for Danny Garcia. He is already on his way to third base. He will reach there with a stand-up triple.
Well, Danny Garcia probably watched Sam Parker's base hit fly over his head when Garcia was playing right field before coming in to pitch. And he's probably thinking, anything you can do, I can do better. That ball was smoked. Went all the way to the 375 marker down the right field line. And it had to be taken out from along the fence by Basile out and right. And that's the life that Leominster maybe needs.
Immediately a runner at third base as now this pitch is lifted in the air down the left field line into foul territory. Over there is Parker. He overruns it, and he can't make the play. That ball drops foul.
Well, Pheno Fields does have a tendency to cause some problems here late at night with the lights, and there's something about this sky. I know some people have lost some balls in the sky combined with the lights over the years, and for whatever reason, it's a tricky fly ball to catch, especially before it gets completely dark like it is right now. And Parker just overran that ball.
It's an 0-1 count on Nick White, and now this one hit up over the backstop. Looked like it was maybe ticketed for the press box windows, but that sneaks over the roof of the press box.
Yeah,
and the
I
count
stuck
goes
the
to
hand
0-2.
out just in case.
I would have left that one to you, Anthony.
Well, that was a little bit more towards you. I might have had a dive. I don't know. Might have ruined the equipment. I don't know if you want me flying around the press box.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. And that one just misses the outside corner, says the home plate umpire. The strike zone has not been without its controversial moments tonight, of course, leading to the ejection of Leominster head coach Jeff Dedian earlier in the night. Here comes the 1-2, and that's up and in.
I'd love to know what he's been up to. What do you do? I'm assuming you got to wait for the game to end.
I would not be a bit surprised if Coach Dedian is listening to us right at this very moment in his car out in the parking lot. One of the benefits of having the radio broadcast at the game. Here is the 2-2 pitch. It's hit hard on the ground to first base. This will bring the run in as Danny Johnson will make his way to the first base bag himself for the first out of the inning, but Leominster back on the scoreboard. It's now a 10-2 game.
That almost spelled disaster for Milford. That was smoke, too. A couple hard hit balls to the right side. First the triple for Garcia, now Nick White smoked one on the ground. Johnson elected to go with the backhand, and it popped in and out of his glove. But luckily for him, it was rolling towards the first base bag, so he was moving in the right direction. Ended up being a relatively easy play once the ball was bobbled, but that could have been a lot worse.
So the bases are empty now with one down, with the score now 10-2. And Josh Proctor, who had previously occupied this fourth spot in the batting order, he now gives way to Sam Robichaux. He came into the game defensively out in right field as Danny Garcia came on as the third Leominster arm used.
And for whatever reason tonight, Tim, we've seen a lot of errors from Leominster. Robichaux came in and immediately made an error on a confusing dive attempt. He went down to his knees and botched a ball to right. We saw a shortstop, Holloway, have a ball go in and out of his glove. Catcher Pandicio made a bad throw on that snap throw last inning. Sloppy play defensively.
A 1-ball, 1-strike count now on Robichaux. So Proctor had been 1 for 2 with a single. Sagebray, the starter, never took an at-bat in this game. He was originally slated for this number 4 spot. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count now, as Milford now is going to start to get some activity going down in their bullpen. Here is the 1-2 pitch. That's on the outside corner for strike 3. Strikeout number 4 in the game for Brendan Kelly.
That was some paint right there on the outside corner, right on the black, a pitcher's pitch. Robichaux couldn't do anything with it.
So 2 outs now for Anthony Silverio, the Leominster third baseman. He swings at the first pitch, hits it through the hole on the left side for a base hit. Matt Shaver went into a partial dive to try to knock that ball down, but it got underneath him. And another hit in this inning for Leominster will keep it going.
Well, Shaver hasn't had many easy plays. He had the one that bounced right up towards his face area that ended up being an easy play. But for the most part, he's had to go into some dives and even had a bare hand.
5 hits in the game now for Leominster as we see Matt Dupuis at the dish. He takes the first pitch for a strike. He drove in the first run of the game for Leominster with a single in the 4th inning. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that misses high.
The key for Kelly so far has been scattering those 5 hits. They haven't bunched up on him. It hasn't been a 7-hit inning like Milford had in the first. Kelly has scattered the 5 hits.
Ready now with his 1-1 offering, and it's sliced over towards shortstop, and a leaping catch is made by Chris Brunt. Not the most height on the field for Chris Brunt, but he timed that leap absolutely perfectly to record out number 3 in the inning. Leominster grabs a run to make it now a 10-2 game as we will move on to the bottom half of the 6th inning on your home for Milford Legion Baseball, My FM 101.3. Bottom half of the 6th inning now here from Fino Field. Now a 10-2 score, Milford on top of Leominster. It's about to make the point in that last inning when the offense began for Post 151. They have had no problem scoring throughout this season. 189 runs scored through their first 18 games of the year, good for just over 10 runs per game. And you just look at some of the final scores on the season, double-digit outputs regularly, including a 16-run output in a win over Eastside over earlier on the season, 14 runs in a victory over Grafton Hill. And so again, this is a team that can hurt you, but Milford's pitching, Brendan Kelly has done a good job of holding them in check so far. We begin now the 6th inning with Matt Shaver at the plate, a 1-ball, 1-strike count. And the pitcher warming up right now in the bullpen for Post 59 is Tommy Leone. We'll see if he comes out for the 7th.
This has really been an offensive juggernaut for Leominster this season, but Brendan Kelly has been up to the task here tonight. He's been great, scattered those 5 hits, only 2 runs allowed.
Here's a 1-2 pitch now from Danny Garcia, and it's lifted foul down the right field line. A long run for the first baseman, and he gets there right on the warning track in front of the fans down the right field line. He makes the play for out number 1.
That's a very, very tough play. You have to deal with the warning track, and that set of fans and the fence comes up on you kind of quick over there. An over-the-shoulder catch, but he actually got there quick enough to turn his body around halfway or so to make that a little bit of an easier play. A nice athletic play from White.
So 1 out in the inning. Jacob Beater now at the plate. Beater so far tonight, a single back in the first inning to drive in a run. Since then, he has grounded out to short and struck out looking. The 1-0 pitch, that is low. Milford flirting with a potential Mercy Rule win in the bottom of the 5th inning, left the bases loaded. Now a 10-2 score. And Beater slices one down the right field line. This will drift completely out of play. And we talked about it a little bit during the pregame show, but just to mention it again, Milford with a great gesture before the game here tonight, honoring all of the past presidents for this Milford post-59 team. As the next pitch is lined back up the middle, and the catch is made by Danny Garcia. That was ripped right back to the pitcher's mound, and Garcia just stuck the glove out and then said, "Look what I found."
Well, Shaver smoked one earlier right up the middle, and Sage Bray was the pitcher at the time, and he was fortunate to get a glove on a ball that was aiming right for his head. And that time, off the bat of Beater, wasn't quite as close to the head. It would have hit more in the torso or chest area. But Garcia, again, you said it best, Tim, hit the nail on the head. Look what I found. Pretty much stick the glove out, and that's about it. Hope you don't get hit by it.
So now 2 outs, the base is empty, and Lucas Basile will wear this one. He got that one off the ankle, came down and in. Got him maybe off the right foot or the right ankle, and Basile will head down to first base.
That's a tough spot to get hit. Not a lot of padding down there in terms of muscle or anything like that. It's a lot of bone as you get down to the lower leg, and if it got more towards the ankle, especially with his speed, that could hinder him. He's already taking a very small lead. Granted, there is a lefty on the mound, too.
Chance for Chris Brunt now in the inning. He takes a pitch on the outside corner for strike 1. And so just to finish up the point, we had 4 of the former presidents of Milford post-59 here throwing out the first pitch before the game. Most recent Legion president Chris Morcone, also Rick Villani was here, Charles Mercado Jr., and Joseph Arcudi, all 4 out on the field. The only other living former president for post-59, Anthony DeLuzio, was not able to be here today. But again, a great gesture to honor those past presidents who did so much to help this program.
Really is a nice gesture and such a rich tradition and history here with Milford Legion baseball.
Here's a 1-2 pitch now to Brunt. This is lined back up the middle. That'll scoot through for a base hit. Basile takes the wide turn around second base, but he will hold there. Another hot shot straight back up the middle, but this time it gets past the pitcher and out into center field. And that will turn the lineup over once again. It will be the 5th plate appearance of the night for Ben McKenzie.
And again, Milford in a position, runner in scoring position. 2 outs, not as much to work with here as they had last inning. But 2 outs, top of the order, runner 180 feet away. That's the winning run. That would be the Mercy Rule.
First pitch comes up and in. They would need to bring both these runners home with Leominster scoring that run in the top half of the inning.
Math was never my specialty. That's why I went to school to talk, not to crunch numbers.
McKenzie at the dish, taking that pitch up and in for ball 1. From the stretch, here's the pitch. It's on the outside corner for a strike.
It would have been a lot worse if there weren't 2 runners on base. Then I really would have looked bad.
There's good speed on the bases for Milford with Basile at second and Brunt at first. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that floats down low for ball 2. McKenzie, as we have discussed tonight, excellent extra base potential, so it is not out of reach for McKenzie to drive both of these runners in. Here is the pitch, and it's sent down the right field line, foul, out of play, and right off towards the Milford bullpen where Tommy Leone continues to loosen.
Well, all McKenzie needs here is another hit that he had similar to his first at-bat when it looked like a normal single out to left, and the ball ricocheted off the outfield grass, and Bigelow was going to his left, and the ball went to the right. That could probably score two.
Set by Garcia. Here's his 2-2 pitch, and it's sent down the right field line towards the foul line, and that is over into foul territory, out of the reach of Sam Robichaux. And it'll stay a 2-2 count. That one a little closer to fair territory for McKenzie. Looks like he's taking an approach here to try to go the opposite way with the lefty on the mound.
Robichaux nearly got there. If that ball was closer to fair territory, he might have gotten it.
Here's another 2-2, and this one again out towards right. A little bit easier play for Robichaux this time. Almost came in too far. Had to lunge for it in the end, but he hangs on for the out that ends the inning. Milford leaves two more stranded on the bases. They have stranded 8 on base over the last 3 innings alone. And so we will move on to a 7th inning here tonight between Milford and Leominster. It's a 10-2 lead for Milford post 59. You're on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3. Tim Coet and Anthony Mazzini bringing you the call for Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3. Milford with a 10-2 lead, 10 runs on 11 hits with no errors. Leominster 2 runs on 5 hits with 3 errors. And after Brendan Kelly went 6 strong innings in this game, Milford now turns it over to the bullpen. We saw Leone warming up in between innings, and out there now for this top of the 7th, it is Tommy Leone making his 6th appearance on the pitcher's mound in 2019. 5 of those 6 have come out of the bullpen. Leone with a 1-0 record, a 4.50 ERA. So far in 9 1/3 innings pitched on the year, he's allowed 11 hits, 10 runs, 6 of them earned. He has walked 4, struck out 10, and opposing batters are hitting .256 against Leone. He last worked back on the 4th of July. It was not the sharpest relief appearance for Leone in a game that Milford did end up going on to win in mercy rule fashion. They had taken a big lead over Framingham going into that 5th inning. It was 14-1. But Leone ended up allowing 3 runs in the inning. A lot of pinch hitters coming up as Coach Smith was ready to empty the bench with a big deficit, and Framingham able to chip away a bit against Leone. He ended up, again, allowing 3 runs on 5 hits in an inning pitched in that game. So he'll look to rebound from that relief appearance here tonight. And he will face a pinch hitter to start this 7th inning. It is Brandon Dubuque, the right-handed hitter who swings at the first pitch and floats it over towards second base, where Simos will pluck it out of the air for out number 1.
Well, Tim, you mentioned that mercy rule in that last game you were referencing, and saying to you between the half innings, I thought we were destined for a mercy rule tonight. I did not expect this game to make it to the 7th, but Milford squandered some opportunities, and Leominster did just enough.
And if you're Leominster and you're trying to digest this game after the fact, you can get together and say to yourselves, there were a lot of little things that didn't go our way in that first inning, but we didn't give in. We ended up battling to the full 7. Here's another floater out towards second base. This one will get over the head of Simos out into right field, and it will be a base hit as Leominster now is going heavy to their bench. That was Sean Doyle up in a pinch hitting appearance in the place of Tom Hallowell, and he is on with a 1-out base hit. And Liam McNiff now will make it 3 straight pinch hitters off the bench for post 151.
Well, Leominster really didn't get much out of the bottom of the order. They got 1 hit from Hallowell in the 3rd, the number 8 man. Sean Doyle just got a hit in his spot, so guess you go to the bench and maybe you strike something.
McNiff batting, I should say, for Max Bigelow, who went 0 for 1, a strikeout. He did reach on a walk in his last plate appearance. And now McNiff ahead in the count against Leone, 2 balls and no strikes. It is Rocco Pandiccio right now swinging in the on-deck area. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and that is in for a strike. The Tufts University product back to the set. The 2-1 pitch is hit on the ground slowly towards third. Shaver will go the short route to second base to get the force play there. No chance for a double play. Good heads-up play for Shaver to get the out at second base. And Leominster now down to their last out.
Yeah, that was a really, really good play from Shaver. I personally didn't think he was going to go to second. It was a bang-bang play, really. And Doyle was hustling. I didn't know if Shaver would have enough time. The ball wasn't hit hard. Thought the better bet was to go to first, but he got the lead runner. Good play.
So that leaves it up to Pandiccio, up now for the 4th time. Last time up, he grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. Overall 0 for 3 on the night. Takes the first pitch for ball 1. Runner not being held on as the pitch is dropped in the dirt. It kicks away from Beater, and this will allow the runner to advance to second base. It is McNiffet first base, now down to second base on that wild pitch.
And that one got a piece of the home plate umpire after it bounced in the dirt. Beater couldn't make the stop, and nice gesture here for Beater to go out and have a word with Leone. Not much to really talk about other than to get this last out, but more to give the umpire a little bit of time. I think that was an apology, too, from Beater saying, hey, my bad, didn't mean to let that one get through.
It's a 2-ball, no-strike count on Pandiccio now with a runner in scoring position. Leone back into the windup. The pitch is a fastball in for a strike. Coach DeVito trying to get Leone a little bit more work here late in the season to get him tuned up to be a key bullpen arm in the playoffs. Here's the 2-1 offering, and that is low. That again gets through Beater. It gets stuck under the fence, or maybe it went clean through.
I think it went all the way through. I have never seen that.
Not much space between the bottom of the backstop for a ball to sneak its way through, but somehow that one did it. And so the runner will advance to third, remains there with a 3-ball, 1-strike count now on Rocco Pandiccio. Here's the next pitch, and that is outside for ball 4. Close pitch goes Pandiccio's way. He heads down to first. And so that keeps the line moving now to Danny Garcia, who rocketed a triple down the right field line to lead off the 6th inning, came around to score. First pitch into the left-handed batter, misses outside for ball 1. Garcia, one of the most dangerous bats in this lineup. When these two teams met earlier on the season, Garcia had 3 hits in the game, 2 runs batted in. It's an 8-run Milford lead. As Garcia chops one foul, it will roll over towards the first base dugout, and the count will even at a ball and a strike.
Coach DeVito for Milford probably thinking you bring Leone in here with a big lead after he struggled in his last outing, but Leone again making things a little bit interesting.
Runners at the corners for Leominster with the 1-ball, 1-strike count on Garcia, who now is granted time. He backs out of the box. Milford trying to put the finishing touches on what would be an important win for their playoff standings. The runner takes off from first base as the pitch misses low. This time, Beater able to hang on to it. A lot of pitches in the dirt from Leone in this inning. Beater has had his work cut out for him. He's let a couple slip past. Now a 2-1 count. Here's the pitch, and it's sent high in the air out to right field. Over towards the line goes Basile. Now loses his footing. He can't make the catch. And a couple of runs will score here for Leominster as Garcia will wind up at third base. Lucas Basile had that ball lined up. He was all set to make the final out of the game, and then out of nowhere, the turf monster got him. He lost his footing, couldn't make the play, and now it is a 10-4 score.
Yeah, that looked to be out number 3. Game over. Turn the lights off. Everyone go home, and not so fast. The Seal might have lost it a little bit too. Who knows? But that extends the game.
And the pitch now floated over the backstop and out of play. The scoreboard reading 10-3. Now they've got it back down to 10-2, but there were 2 runners on there. And Garcia cleaned them both up. So now everything updated on the scoreboard as well. 10-4 with now Nick White at the plate. Here's an 0-1 pitch, and it floats up and away, completely misses the glove of Beater, and here comes another run to score as Garcia crosses the plate to now make it a 10-5 game.
Still no threat here to this Milford lead with 2 outs and now nobody on base with that wild pitch to score another run. But if another base runner or 2 gets on, manager Steve DeVito might want to think about getting somebody up.
And now a line drive back up the middle, and that might happen sooner rather than later, as that's a ringing single for Nick White out into center field. And this Leominster team now engaged. They had a large contingent of fans come out to the ballpark here tonight in Milford, and they're feeling this 2-out rally as well. It's a 10-5 score. It's a 10-2 game coming into this inning. And if you're Tommy Leone, you're trying to make your case to be a guy that can be counted on in these late inning situations come the playoffs. And unfortunately now in a situation where you've let up a couple of leaky runs once again at the end of a blowout win.
Still getting a lot of support from his dugout, but you can tell he's rattled out there. And he has the stuff too, Tim. You just look at him, a tall right-hander, it throws hard. A little bit of a deceptive move, a pause halfway through the delivery, but just hasn't really put it all together.
Not getting the benefit of a borderline pitch on the outside part of the plate, and it's now a 2-ball, no-strike count. There is still no activity in the bullpen, so this game belongs to Leone for now. And now a late strike call issued by the home plate umpire on a pitch that was right at the bottom of the zone. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs in the inning, 3 runs home so far for Leominster. And the pitch is a swinging strike. The batter, Sam Robichaud, tried to hold up on the swing. He goes around. And now Leone ready with another, and that is in for a called strike 3. So Leone comes back to get him, and that will finally end the ball game. Things getting interesting and a little bit uncomfortable for the Milford fans, but in the end, Post 59 is able to nail down a 10-5 victory over Leominster. So they even the season series with Post 151, and more importantly, they even themselves with Leominster in the standings. Now both of these teams with identical 16-3 records, so Milford pulling themselves into a virtual tie for first place in the Zone 4 standings. A big win here for Post 59 tonight. A lot to digest as part of our Mass Renewables of Bellingham post-game report. We will do that right when we come back after this. Here is our coverage continuing here of Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3.
I give him an error. I don't know. I mean, the rule is if he doesn't touch it, then it's not an error. But, I mean, we can't see if he touched it or not. I think he did. I think it was in and out of the glove. Plus, you got to make that